Welcome to the 2010s. That's right. We're continuing on our series of actors and actresses, the best of science fiction and fantasy. And today I'm sharing with my son Zach the 2010s. He's probably seen most of these movies, but I have no idea if he'll agree with me because I didn't show him the list.
We'll see. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son sit down and talk about today sci-fi and fantasy movies that we have enjoyed, and more importantly, the best actors and actresses from them. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. Glad to have you with us here today. We hope you enjoy kind of wandering through a little bit of the past. Not too long ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, things like that. Things you should be familiar with. If you
Unless
enjoy.
you're seeing this in 50 years, at which point, the
wow.
past.
If YouTube is still here in 50 years, I'm impressed.
I don't know, maybe someone will have turned this into like physical media. I doubt it, but maybe.
But go ahead and just give us a like, because we're nice guys and you're going to appreciate the episode. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Join us. We've got a lot of people here, and we keep putting stuff out almost every day. We're just having fun, sharing content, and we think you might like it too. Today's content to enjoy, then, is all about these movies and TV shows of science fiction and fantasy and the actors that were prominent in them in the 2010s.
How many do we have today, Dad?
17.
17.
This
I don't know
whole
if that's
series
a good or a bad number.
Started out as a top 10 list, but it's impossible. There are way too... Okay, we are blessed to live at a time where there's tons of fantasy and science fiction content. And most of it's not crap. I mean, do you remember the Sci-Fi Channel?
Yeah.
And
I remember when it changed how it was spelt.
Right. And there was definitely B-level content and even C-level content
Most
on the
of
Sci-Fi
what was
Channel.
on the Sci-Fi Channel was B and C level content.
But now, so much that comes out is just top-tier material.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. So I'm excited to talk about some of these great ones that I enjoyed.
And with all that being said, if you name a single person that I don't know who they are on this list, you're probably wrong to include them.
Okay, fair. I don't think we're going to run into that, but let's find out. Number 17 on my list, Gal Gadot.
Yeah, okay.
Now, way down at the bottom of the list, because there's only two performances that she's on here for. The first, of course, is Wonder Woman in 3 different movies.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, just that little cameo at the end of the movie. It's a little more than a cameo, but it's just right at the end. That was in 2016. And then in 2017, she has her own film, Wonder Woman, and then also appears in Justice League.
And then I assume the other thing you're going to include is her appearances in the Fast and Furious franchise?
No, I did not include them in this list of being enough fantasy. I mean, it's just action.
I usually
movies
don't,
with cars.
But you often think it's so ridiculous that it is.
But there were other choices I could pick from, so I left those out. But
so
you're
what
right.
is your second option, second inclusion?
In 2016, she's in the movie Criminal.
I don't think I know it.
You've never heard of it. She plays the role Jill Pope. It's a prime character there. You might want to check it out. It fits in these genres. And so if all she was Wonder Woman, I'm not sure if I'd include her. But she throws in an extra movie that's something else. I'm like, there you go. Now, don't get me wrong. She is Wonder Woman. I love her performance of this character.
But all right, Gal Gadot, bottom of your top. Who's next?
Bottom of my top. That sounds funny. Number 16 is an actor you're familiar with. This guy named Matt Smith.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
So the first thing he's known for in the 2010s is Doctor Who. As the 11th Doctor, played from 2010 to 2014. He gets done with that. He joins the Terminator franchise. 2015, he's in Terminator Genesis as Alex/Skynet.
Yeah.
2016, love that this came out as a movie. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Yes.
As Mr. Collins. And 2018, I just discovered this one in my research. I had to go watch this movie. Patient Zero. He plays Morgan, primary character in this movie. It's right in the lane of what I like in science fiction. So
Matt Smith is an actor who usually, when I talk about him, I just talk about the fact that he needs a better agent. Because he's a great actor who appears in a lot of things that don't do very well. Occasionally, he gets some things that do very well or
House
very
of
are very
Dragon
awesome,
has helped.
including Doctor Who, kind of at the beginning, and now here, a lot more modern, House of the Dragon. Very good. And so I'm hoping that we'll keep seeing good Matt Smith content, and it won't just drop back off into him being big roles in bad things.
So you're a big Matt Smith fan. I'm curious if you'll be offended at any of the others that I put ahead of him.
Probably not.
Number 15 is James McAvoy.
Like I said, probably not.
Okay. He's only on here for 2 characters.
Really?
He plays the new version of Charles Xavier, starting with X-Men First Class in 2011, X-Men Days of Future Past in 2014, and X-Men Apocalypse, which was a bit of an apocalypse, in 2016.
Okay.
But then he comes in with the character Kevin Wendell Crumb in Split in 2016.
Which is where you were going,
and Blast in 2019.
I was a little curious how you were quantifying it, because in a way, he's coming in as multiple characters. I don't know what you're talking about.
He is so good in those movies. Yeah, Charles Xavier, he's just playing a comic book character. He fits into that role. He does it fine. His performance as Kevin is special.
I think James McAvoy is a fantastic actor, but I think he shines the most in a genre that I do not love all the time. I think horror is his bread and butter for something that he is just so fantastic in.
Is there something horror-wise that you want to highlight that I haven't mentioned?
Not from this decade.
Okay, we'll get there. Number 14, Charlize Theron. Look, not just men on my list again. Boom.
It's true.
Charlize Theron, I struggled where to put her because she is such a great actress. But there's so many good people on this list with so many pieces of work to present. So 14 is where she falls. She starts with 2012, Snow White and the Huntsman. She's playing Queen Ravenna. Then 2012 also, Prometheus. One of the Alien franchise, but like the weakest movie. A
lot of people don't love it as much. I kind of liked it, actually.
I didn't have a problem with it, but it is not as strong as some of them. Meredith Vickers is her role in that movie. Then she nails it with Mad Max Fury Road in 2015 as Imperator Furiosa. So good that it spins off to another movie, just Furiosa, which she's not in that, but it's because her character was so good that other movie exists.
The character got a spin-off.
And then we've got a sequel, The Huntsman, Winter's War in 2016, where she's Queen Ravenna again. There's no way the Snow White and the Huntsman should have ended up with a sequel, except she's that good.
It's a hard place for me because, like, she's often included in people's lists of people who are fantastic, and I'm just like, it's okay. That feels rude to say, but
and you're okay with her down at 14 is what you're really telling me.
Truly, yeah. I often find myself, when I think about her performances, going, yeah, they were great, but often finding them a little forgettable for me personally.
That's funny.
Maybe it's just the movies aren't ones that really connected to me. Maybe it's that the character itself was like, for my preferences, but something about usually has her be a slightly background of my mind actress.
Okay, I can accept that. So number 13 on the list is one everybody would struggle to figure out where to place.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Where the heck do we put this guy? So in this decade, we start off with the clunker Green Lantern in 2011. Yeah. It's not his fault. The movie script sucked, but he did fine. He performed well as Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern.
Well, I mean, to a certain extent, he performed how he does, which could have worked, but also wasn't necessarily gonna save that movie.
There is a great moment in Deadpool and Wolverine where he goes back and kills himself as the Green Lantern. Isn't that, isn't that from that? I was just so
technically that's from Deadpool 2.
Is that from Deadpool?
End credits of Deadpool 2.
Well, whatever. It's just good. He acknowledges, that movie never should have been made. But 2013, I don't know why people don't like this one. R.I.P.D. He plays Nick Walker. I enjoyed this movie.
I thought this movie was fine. It didn't do anything new or crazy or good. It hits me in the spot of like we were really, really into trying to figure out what can we do with CGI, and not all of it looks great.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're right. It's earlier days. 2016, it breaks in with Deadpool. And that's the game changer right there. He's just so good as Wade Wilson, Deadpool, a character we never thought could truly come to the screen the way it is in the comics. And he's just a fan who made it happen.
This was a success, no doubt.
Have you seen the movie in 2017, Life?
I don't
He
think
plays
so.
Rory Adams, one of the key characters.
Nope.
Science fiction, worth seeing. It's part
Okay.
of his body work in this decade. So, Life, check it out, 2017. But 2018, Deadpool 2.
Yep.
And we're just, yes, give us more. Okay, now I'm going to go just a little further because Ryan Reynolds does not make my list.
Doesn't make your next
for
list?
the next decade. So I just have to mention, obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine, one of my favorite movies of this current decade.
Yeah, it's definitely not in the decade we're actually talking about today.
No. But in 2022, he does the Atom Project.
I actually really liked the Atom Project.
Yes,
I really
it
liked
was
it.
very good. Science fiction, time travel. It's good.
Now, as opposed to Free Guy, which was cheesy and entertaining for what it was, but it wasn't very good. The Atom Project, however, pretty good.
Yes. All right, so that's number 13, Ryan Reynolds. Number 12, another one a little tough to place, Chris Pratt. He comes in with Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014. Now, before that, it's Parks and Recreation. I mean, that's what we know him from. He's a great comedic character. Then he loses some weight, gets ripped, comes in Guardians of the Galaxy as Peter Quill, Star-Lord, and owns it.
And once we get that, he can then hop right over to be a lead in a couple other things, including Jurassic World.
2015. Yep. And the sequel, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in 2018. There is more Jurassic World coming out, and Chris Pratt's still attached. So this guy has got that. And of course, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was also in this decade, 2017. But there's another movie with
Passengers.
Yes, 2016.
I had to look up when that came out because I was like, that's in my head.
That's a great science fiction flick.
I haven't watched it.
Oh.
I've heard mixed reviews about how good it is as a movie, but conceptually, the concept of it as a science fiction film does bear merit and has interest for me.
So the debate with Chris Pratt and why he's down at number 12 is he riding the fun of the franchise as opposed to truly turning in strong acting performances? I don't care. He's entertaining, but that does hold him down. I wouldn't say anything I've seen him in, I'm like, oh my goodness, he is such an incredible actor. No, it's just, that was an entertaining performance. That's the difference.
As time goes on, I think he's more riding franchises than he is rising up his own acting chops or whatever. Early on, some of these things we're talking about here in this decade, absolutely. But as we go more into the next, we're getting some more voice acting stuff where it's like, he just phoned it in from home. He didn't try. We get things like Super Mario and Garfield where we're like, hey, maybe use anything more than just Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt, please.
But people like Chris Pratt, so that's why you're hired. We want Chris Pratt.
I think he's wearing out a little bit in terms of that. He is just writing franchises a little bit.
All right, number 11, Benedict Cumberbatch.
I expected this one to show up at some point. I wasn't sure where you put him.
So in 2013, Star Trek Into Darkness, he plays Khan Noonien Singh. I was thrilled to see him in this role. I think he did this very nicely. Then he's the voice of Smaug in the 2 Hobbit movies that have Smaug. The Desolation of Smaug in 2013 and the Battle of 5 Armies in 2014. Then this was a brilliant choice to make him Doctor Strange. In the MCU, the 2016 movie, he's Dr. Stephen Strange. I'm like, of all the people you could pick, he so looks like Doctor Strange from the comics. It's like, yes, that works. And of course, this is a franchise. So 2018, he's in Avengers Infinity War, again, as Dr. Stephen Strange.
I'm almost offended that you didn't start this conversation with starting in 2010 Sherlock.
That's fair. Why? Why did I not mention? I'm trying to mention the top 5, and he's solid in Sherlock.
And that's all
Well, wait,
through this decade.
wait. What do I leave off? I should have said 6. I should have said
I
6
think you
different
should have
people.
included. I would have left off Infinity War from this one simply because
It's
he's
just
already
Doctor Strange,
included
yeah.
for Doctor Strange. It's
Fair.
the same role.
I like it. All right. Good pickup. Now we get to the ones that I only would have shared if I only did a top 10.
Okay.
And number 10 is Michael Fassbender.
Okay.
A solid actor. We've seen him show his stuff. In this decade, we've got X-Men First Class, where he's the new Magneto. Prometheus, again, the weaker movie, but he plays
He's
David.
the android-y guy on that one.
He's fantastic in this movie. He's again Magneto in X-Men Days of Future Past in 2014. He's Callum Lynch in Assassin's Creed 2016.
Yes. Flop of a movie.
Right, but he's not a flop. He's a good actor, just the script sucked. Yeah. And back in the Alien franchise again, Alien Covenant 2017, he reprises his role of David. So, Michael Fassbender. Now, he's maybe as high as 10 because I can't help but be influenced by other things that have come out. He is a solid actor.
I think on this decade, I would have actually switched to your 10 and 11 probably, but
I can understand that. Yep. Number 9, Robert Downey Jr. In the last decade, we saw him find Iron Man and Sherlock Holmes. So he starts off in this decade, 2010, Iron Man 2, and 2011, Sherlock Holmes 2, which is a game of shadows. Then we get to what the setup of MCU was doing in 2012 with the Avengers. And then Iron Man 3 in 2013, and then Avengers Age of Ultron in 2015, and on and on and on. Okay, he's all MCU, Tony Stark, Iron Man.
He's here because Tony Stark.
Until Iron Man eventually will die in the next decade, and now he's Doctor Doom?
We'll see how that plays out.
I don't understand. I think it's partly for him a challenge. I think he's taken it on because he got tired of just doing the one character, and he wants to prove, he knows there's doubters. He wants to prove, I can be Doctor Doom and you will forget I was Iron Man.
I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think there's potentially some vision, especially if you use the same actor, of like treating a Doctor Doom as your evil Tony Stark almost, and I am not excited about that potentiality. But we'll see.
I think it's ego, and that it's actually going to play out. I think Robert Downey Jr., and I do believe, I saw some of his earlier work, he is a solid actor who got into a part that became too easy to play. Tony Stark. He's just being Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr. early in his life had substance abuse issues, and now he's Tony Stark who has alcohol issues. Okay, so he did this role. He's just being himself in a very fun way that we like. And I think he just got too comfortable in the role. Time to end the role. Now I'm going to come with something completely different. I think we are going to be surprised, shocked, and really pleased
this
total different character.
There's a little bit of something to be said about, and this has nothing to do with what we're talking about today, but he leaves the MCU. His next few projects flop. The MCU's next few projects flop. They go, what if we just bring it back? And
some of it is about, Robert, Bob, can I call you Bob? Can we throw a whole bunch of money at you and bring you back?
It's like, hey, you need the money. Can we give you money? Also, we need the money. Can you get us money from the fans? Like, I think that might have more to do with it.
Maybe. Nevertheless, I'm happy to see him come back, and at the same time, a little reticent because he was so good as Tony Stark. Do not screw up Tony Stark by being a Tony Stark version of Doctor Doom. But we need something distinctly different.
Someday, when that movie comes out, we will talk about it then, probably. In the meantime, who's number 8?
Henry Cavill.
Thank you. Cool. We love it.
2013, Man of Steel changes the landscape of Superman. 2015, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
That's a remake of an old series from the 60s, which was really entertaining back then. He plays Napoleon Solo. It's a prime character in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. 2016, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. He's still Superman. 2017, Justice League. He's still Superman. But then 2019, The Witcher. 4 seasons, and then they go off the rails. He is Geralt of Rivia, and then the show dies. Oh, wait, there's another season coming. I feel bad for the Hemsworth boy. There is no way you follow and succeed from what Henry Cavill gave us as Geralt of Rivia. Thoughts?
And you know, my only thoughts here really, you listed some great things. You didn't even list everything that he did in this decade in these genres.
Again, 5.
Exactly.
There's 5. Go ahead.
There's more here. I don't need to say any of them.
No, do it.
The one that stands out to me is actually pretty early, but it's part of where I think physique gets him Superman. Immortals.
Okay.
He was very different physique, but ripped as hell.
I've never been ripped like this man. It is crazy.
That was when the world learned, hey, all you got to do, take off his shirt, maybe oil him up a little bit. Everyone will pay money.
Oh.
And you know what? They keep doing it. And my favorite part about that is that Henry Cavill grew up a fat kid. It shows a certain dedication to a lot of different things that I super respect. I love this actor who is a fantastic nerd in his own right.
Yeah.
He could go higher on this spot just because I like him as a person, I'll be honest. Really hope I never find out anything bad about him.
What I do know is you can't relate to him being a fat kid. You've never been a fat kid.
I had the opposite problem.
We're like, dude, eat something, please.
No, I was 6 foot and 130 pounds going to college.
We had trouble finding pants you could wear.
Yeah.
Because you were so tall, but your waist was like still this small.
Yeah, it was a problem. I don't have that problem anymore.
Oh, no.
Not
I hope you never run into the problem I have now, because I was like you. Very much built like you. Until the age of 20. Okay, it started to go south when I hit 24, when we had your sister. And it got worse at 29 when we had you. Because I got more slower and sedentary playing with my kids. And yeah, now the weight.
My weight aside, who's number, what are we at, 7?
Yeah, another ripped guy. These guys suck. Okay, Chris Evans.
Okay.
So we've got Captain America, the first Avenger in 2011. And the Avengers reprising the same role in 2012.
We also get, in this decade, Snowpiercer, right?
Yes, in 2013. Well done. Well pulled. You really didn't do any research?
For that one, I went Snowpiercer, and I have IMDb up so I can quick Google something to check the decade.
Okay, thank you, because I'm like so wowed by
to be fair,
pulling out of your brain.
To be fair, I did not look up Chris Evans. I pulled Snowpiercer out and then checked real fast. When did that come out?
He's so good in Snowpiercer.
So
I didn't watch that until last year.
Still give me my credit. I thought of the thing and then just double checked before I said it out loud. Is this the right decade?
He would not be number 7 without Snowpiercer, because the other 2 movies are still just Captain America. So we got Captain America the Winter Soldier in 2014 and Avengers Age of Ultron in 2015. And there's more where he's Captain America.
I'll throw another one out there because this is 2010 to 2019, right?
Yes.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
He's in that?
He's in that.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking this up.
You find it and you'll
I've
realize
seen
I'm
that
right.
movie.
I'm
that
right.
Movie was fun.
He plays kind of a over caricature version of himself, almost actor skater guy.
All right. What year is it? Oh, there it is.
2010.
2010, right at the beginning. Oh, okay. Chris Evans is also high on the list because of other things he's done. This decade had Knives Out.
Is that this decade? Or is that 2020s?
I think it's this decade.
It's a fantastic movie either way.
Yeah, I'll check. Where's Knives Out?
2019.
Yeah, see, it's this decade. I love Knives Out. There's a sequel. I don't know if he's in the
Glass
sequel.
Onion. He's not in the sequel. Still a fantastic
Glass
movie.
Onion's great.
And I'm very excited for the sequel that will come out this year, next year.
I
There's
didn't know.
a third that's coming out soon. Another of these Benoit Blanc mysteries, and they're fantastic movies. Some of Rachel's favorites. I very much enjoy them too.
But Chris Evans is still putting quality material out. An episode I did recently just featuring a movie, I mean, a couple months back, but Red One. He's one of the
Was that
prime
any good?
characters. It's very good. It's not like
I've heard a
a
lot of
holiday
bad things
movie you
about
should
it.
watch
That's where I
every
was
year.
like,
It's not like that. But it's very entertaining. It got really panned.
yeah, I'm like, I've heard
Badly.
a lot of bad things about it. So I was
And
like,
it
is it
shouldn't
any
have
good?
been. It shouldn't. No, this is a fun flick. Now, I dove into the background on it and stuff, and The Rock is part of that movie, and apparently The Rock said, "You're paying me how much?" Okay, well that just means I show up when I have to and kind of phone it in. So he delivers The Rock. When you just watch the movie, he's still entertaining, but if you look at the back scene stuff, apparently he was a piece of crap to work
He did
with.
not show up and commit as
He
well
was
as he does in
late.
other
The movie
projects.
cost more to make because of reshoots, because he wasn't there when he needed to be, blah, blah, blah. But Chris Evans was awesome as always. So, anyways, number 7 on my list. Number 6, Zoe Saldana.
Okay, yeah. For sure.
A lot of hits. 3 franchises.
Yep.
Avatar, which is actually 2009.
It's actually, yeah, it's either 2009 or 23
But there
or something.
wasn't enough else of Zoe Saldana in the last decade. But it's such a big movie. I have to include her when I mention the other things. So that's
Which is funny because we're also going to mention Star Trek, which also had its start last decade.
Which I didn't mention back then. That's true. So, okay, Star Trek. She's also in that. Because the next thing is 2013 Star Trek Into Darkness. Again, still as Nyota Uhura. And then Guardians of the Galaxy, where she's Gamora.
We get Gamora stuff.
And oh my goodness, that makeup job. That's 2014. 2016, Star Trek Beyond. So our third film. Again, Uhura. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in 2017 as Gamora again. So 5 really big films. These were all huge successes in the 2010s. Well, Avatar, the one before.
And enough of these things also has kind of launched her into a position where she will pick up something in a different, smaller area of this genre and be the best part of it.
Totally. So I was like, Zoe Saldana, is this too high? What do you think?
Maybe a little, if only because you are bringing some technicalities of things that are a little later or a little earlier, and she's just continuing those from earlier, or is there? So I don't know. Maybe a little high, but I'm okay with where it is.
Okay. Well, let's see if you feel the same with number 5, Scarlett Johansson.
It's a mixed bag. She's valid to be here. I'm not the biggest ScarJo fan.
4 of the 5 movies are all for Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, which she has owned. Now, she does not do it the same way as the comic books. She has made it something different, and it's so... I don't like the comic book one anymore. She's the Black Widow.
I think early on, not the biggest fan of. As it progresses, she really, really shines. However, moving away from Black Widow, there are 2 options that I think you could be going with, and one of them's the one that it should be.
Which is?
I hope you included Lucy.
No.
You probably included Ghost in the Shell.
I did include Ghost in the Shell. What year was Lucy? I love that movie.
I want to say like 2011, 2012.
Tell me it's not this decade.
It's got to be this decade. 2014.
Oh, crap. Lucy is fantastic.
So much better and a way better pull for this.
Yes. That brain that just gets bigger and bigger.
Lucy's a great movie. Ghost in the Shell is a bad movie.
I'm like, what? Okay, I have no idea what I just did. So, okay, Iron Man 2, 2010, Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow. 2012, The Avengers, Black Widow. 2014, The Black Widow and Captain America, the Winter Soldier. So 2014 is also Lucy.
Correct.
because I'm going to put a graphic in right here. I love that movie. That was so good. This is my problem. There's so many things to choose
You know
from. It's
what?
hard to capture.
You're welcome for being here, because otherwise you would have made that mistake.
Thank you, son. I love you. You're wonderful. Okay. Avengers Age of Ultron I mentioned as well, and then Ghost in the Shell, which is based on Japanese material, and it's very good.
I've heard
You thought the
what it's
movie was
based
bad,
on is
but
very good. I've
sometimes
not
it's hard
necessarily
to
the
capture the
movie.
essence
Well, I
of
think part of the biggest problem is they went ahead with ScarJo for this, and they shouldn't have. Not because she's a bad actress, because she doesn't fit the role.
So for number 4, Emily Blunt.
I love me some Emily Blunt.
Right?
I don't know that I fully disagree that maybe she shouldn't be. What is this, number 3?
4.
4. Yeah, I don't know if I
Listen-
disagree that she should be
Listen to
lower,
this body of work.
but there's some really good stuff here.
First one, The Adjustment Bureau, 2011. Great science fiction as Elise Sellis. 2012, Looper. Woefully undersold sci-fi flick. She plays Sarah in that movie.
I forgot she's in that.
2014, Edge of Tomorrow.
That one,
Right there with Tom
had in my
Cruise.
head,
She's
yeah.
Sergeant Rita Vratoski, and that's fantastic. 2016, The Huntsman, Winter's War, which we talked about with a previous person.
Mhm.
She's Queen Freya.
Okay.
But 2018, the best movie on the list, A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Evelyn Abbott. Have you seen A Quiet Place?
I have. I've not seen part 2, but I'm a big Emily Blunt fan. I'm also a big John Krasinski fan. So how could I not see this movie?
Right?
I'm not a huge horror guy. Love this movie.
Did you watch John Krasinski's YouTube stuff during the pandemic?
Some of it, yes.
He had that
That was
unique
a bit
little
of good
channel
news
for a
or
while.
something.
It was a niche thing. Yes, it was so good. And Emily Blunt was in the background, supporting him in that. But
I mean, they're married, so I would hope so.
Right. So he's the director / producer of A Quiet Place.
He's also in it. They're both in it.
Yes, but he's the one also running it.
Yes.
Quiet Place 2, she's still in it. He's not.
Well,
But he's
he's
still
being
the
pretty
one
hard
running
for him to be in
All right.
too.
Then there's the third one. Now, technically, he is in the second one. A blip at the beginning.
Yeah,
Anyway,
not really.
The third one, A Quiet Place Day 1.
Third
Have you
one
seen it?
could be in. I have not seen it. I assume neither of them are in it.
Neither of them are
Because
in it.
it's a prequel story.
It's still excellent. I was like, okay, can they really? Oh yeah.
No, there's
That's
a
pretty
couple of
good,
people
too.
that I just like generally respect the way that they're gonna make a film, and unfortunately for me, they make horror films to exemplify how good they are at making films. I talked about this when we actually went and saw Nosferatu. I looked at Rachel and said, I hate that so many good films are horror because I don't love the genre, but it's good. John Krasinski's one of them. Jordan Peele is another. Fantastic movies.
What's that first Jordan
They're
Peele
so
movie that
unsettling.
was so
Get Out.
crazy? What?
Get Out.
Get
I
Out.
believe it's the first.
Oh my goodness, that was so good. So Emily Blunt, number 4.
I think 4 might be a little high, but I love her. So
ability is so strong.
She's just
And I was like,
a great actress, period.
I mean, I've got her above a Scarlett Johansson.
I'm fine with that.
Right. And I've got her above a Zoe Saldana.
I'm fine
Come
with that.
on.
I don't know if I'm fine with both of those in the context of the conversation we're having technically, but just as an actress, no, I like her better.
I do want to point out that was 3 in a row that were women.
I'm proud of you. I'll say it again.
Thank you. All right. Again, only because they're that awesome. And the top 3 are not all men this time.
Who do we got? Who do we got?
Number
Drum
3,
roll.
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah. No, I like Tom Hiddleston. I don't know if I 100% agree that he should be this high.
Well,
But
let me make a
between
point.
like Loki for sure, obviously,
Loki
right?
is the first 3 of them.
But we
So-
also get his role in Kong Skull Island.
Yes, 2017, which was great. And also Crimson Peak. You maybe haven't heard of that one. That's
That
a
one's
2015 film.
a little bit
Sir
off my
Thomas
radar.
Sharp. So it's the Thor films, and he's so good as Loki. It's like, get out of here. How are you this good? And then the other 2 films. But between the Thor movies and the Kong Skull Island, he's just awesome. And then you throw in this extra film that you haven't seen. So
I'm
I
really
like him in
curious
number
right
3.
now who your 1 and 2 are, because I think I might know one of them, but I'm not sure the other right now.
Okay, guess. Who's the one you're thinking?
One of them, I personally think you might do a Chris Hemsworth.
Okay, that's fair. Number 2 is Chris Hemsworth.
There we go.
So we've got him for 5 freaking movies where he's Thor.
Yeah, but we only are going to put one entry because there's also like other things that belong here.
There's only one other thing that belongs here in the top list of science fiction and fantasy.
Okay.
And I own it, and I had you watch it with me. And it's a genre you don't like.
Oh, no, I watched it last night. It's Cabin in the Woods.
Yes!
Rach had never seen it. We literally watched this last night.
You just showed it to her? Sigourney Weaver's in there also, by the way.
She is. And that was, I also had that thought the last day. I checked this while we did our last video to be like, was this 2009? Was this just 2011?
Oh my goodness. So it came out just after the first Thor movie, but before all the others. And it's just so good. So what did Rach think?
She did enjoy it. It was great.
It's so meta. Oh, I love that movie.
However, I am going to throw a couple more in here as to why Chris Hemsworth is this high, even though some of these others were kind of flops. 2019, Men in Black. Men in Black International. It's Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson.
You got to clarify. Thank you.
But
I don't think I've seen
a revival of it.
I
don't think it was
seen that.
particularly great, but he's in that.
Okay.
And then I think he's in the 2016 version. He might be in a later one, and I could be wrong, but I think he's in the 2016 Ghostbusters.
I was researching the Ghostbusters for.
It might be he's in a. He is 2016 Ghostbusters. Chris Hemsworth. Got it right there.
That's the one that's really bad, though.
That's the one where the leads are the 4 women.
Yes, and it's really bad. There's been 2 more since then.
I haven't seen any of these, to be clear.
Yeah, the more recent ones bring the original cast back, but to me, kind of fun again.
Ghostbusters and Men in Black were an immediate. He moved out of Thor, and he did some other things that are still within this supernatural genre era thing that were very entertaining.
Okay,
he's been in a couple of other things that I very much enjoyed in this decade, but I don't think qualify into sci-fi, fantasy, and horror.
All right, my number 1 pick. I was like, really? Are you good with this, Jim? No. Thinking of the 2010s, I'm good with this. Jennifer Lawrence.
I am not upset with this.
Okay.
I don't know that I want to agree with this, but I do agree with it.
She's got 2 franchises. So we've got X-Men. She plays Raven / Mystique. First X-Men First Class 2011 and X-Men Days of Future Past in 2014. But her bigger thing, of course, is the Hunger Games as Katniss Everdeen. 2012, the original movie. 2013, Catching Fire. 2014, Mockingjay Part 1. And 2015, Mockingjay Part 2. Hunger Games was such a phenomenon. And it's not just this. Okay, so she's got Hunger Games, and she's excellent in it. And then she does this X-Men stuff, and she's fun and cool as Mystique. And then I can't help but be influenced by seeing what else comes. Jennifer Lawrence is a top-notch actress. She can nail this stuff in so many ways. So I'm like, yeah, I'll give you number 1. So are you at peace with that?
I'm at peace with her being number 1. I don't have problems with most of your list. Maybe a couple of things moving here and there. But I'm going to bring up something that I brought up in the last video in this series. Robert Pattinson should be on your list somewhere. And it's hard because he does kind of span the previous decade, this decade, and the next. One of my favorites that includes him is 2020. It's Tenet.
That's not this decade.
Exactly. And that's where it's like, it's technically not this decade.
Hold on to Robert Pattinson.
But
I told you that last time too. Hold on to Robert Pattinson.
A number of things. I feel like he should have already been on the list. One of these lists.
We don't like Twilight. We just
doesn't matter whether you like it or not. It has enough of a impact culturally, and he is not the problem with it.
And if you have thoughts like that, viewers, share them. That's what the comment box is for. Also, look down in the show notes. The other ways you can interact with Zach and I, our Discord, we have an invitation there for you, our social media links, and our email. And our Patreon link. If you want to jump in and support us, help us keep this coming, we'd be happy to accept your donation. Zach, any last words before we close for today?
Nah, I'm good.
We're good. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.